All right, we had some love from Twitter this weekend with the hashtag Israel Hates. It was basically a movement on Twitter to name something why we should hate Israel. This is the Doug Karns program here on All Noise Radio. 267-495-4866 is my phone number, or you can reach me at dougkarnsprogram@gmail.com. Alongside with Joe Balcom here this week. How you doing,
Hello.
Joe?
We're back after 3 long weeks.
Back in action.
I'm back.
That's right. So basically, this whole segment's gonna be talking about Israel and the hatred towards Israel, which makes no sense to me. They are like Muslim extremists over in the Middle East, Joe. They hate Israel so much that they want them destroyed off the face of the earth. I mean, The Muslim Brotherhood is, if you go to their own website, they talk about destroying the entire Jew race.
And for some reason, our President Obama, he didn't think about that when backing the revolutions in Libya or Egypt.
No,
he didn't think about the future, what would happen after these revolutions are over.
And we'll touch on that in a second. And it's like these Muslims want the Jew. They think their Jews are such haters, but then in Israel, Muslims are allowed to vote. They serve in the I forget what the Knesset or Knesset. I think
Knesset.
the Knesset, yeah, which is their Congress. They're allowed to serve there. They're allowed to pray there freely. Mm-hmm. But if you go to any Palestinian and you ask them, "Hey, can a Jew pray with you guys?" They would pretty much cut your head off for a second.
Yeah, there's always a double standard.
Yeah,
you have, especially with, I was talking about Hillary Clinton. You know, she there's so many offenses to women's rights in the Arab world, yet she chooses to focus on, the women's rights in Israel.
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
Women's rights in Israel, when women get stoned to death in
There's no
Muslim
problem.
countries.
No problem.
And they get stoned to death because they either walked outside of a house without a man next to them, or they didn't cover up enough, or, the husband, cheated on her. She actually gets stoned to death. Or if she gets raped, she gets stoned to death. Which basically they bury you up to your neck, and they throw heavy, heavy rocks at you until you're dead, obviously. So what women's rights are you chasing after in Israel? I'm pretty sure there's more there than there are in Syria or Iran or Jordan and all that.
Well, this Obama administration, for some reason, they always have to find something that's wrong with Israel. Nothing can ever be good enough.
No, you're right. And Obama just came out last week saying that in this headline from The Blaze, "I've done more for Israel's security than any other administration."
What a joke.
It is a joke. Because I have reasons written down right here. If you look at it, okay, so he helped Egypt fall into a revolution, right? Mm-hmm. So guess who's now mostly in power?
Muslim Brotherhood.
And guess who wants to destroy the Jews?
The Muslim Brotherhood.
You're very correct there, Joe. Now, their mission on their website is to exterminate the Jews, the Jewish race. So now, if little old us, a little podcasting radio show every week, can figure this out, don't you think the president was briefed on this, saying, "Hey, if Mubarak is taken away out of power, the Muslim Brotherhood could gain seats in the government and eventually take it over."
Yep.
I mean, if we can figure that out, I'm hoping the president could figure that out.
Either he's playing dumb or there's a real agenda.
Or how about Libya? I mean, he helped take down Libya and Gaddafi. Now, Gaddafi, both Mubarak and Gaddafi were bad people, but they also didn't want to. Their main goal wasn't to exterminate the Jews. So now you take these guys out, and the rebels who are now running the country hate the Jews and want them to be gone from the Middle East forever. Like, these moves alone, and then there's tons more evidence, which we're going to get to this audio in a second, but he talks bad about the prime minister behind his back. I mean, he was caught on an open mic, which he didn't realize was on, talking about how he has to put up with the prime minister every day. I mean, they are our number one ally in the Middle East.
Probably the only real true ally.
Yep.
You really can't rely on anybody else in that region.
And for their sake, we're the only ally that can back them up, in case of a fight, because they're surrounded by people who hate them. That's like us being surrounded by Mexico, Canada, any other country. Any other country that hates us and they want to destroy us. We would feel very, insecure, and we would hope for somebody to come to our defense if we need it. Because if we have to fight against 4 or 5 countries, that's a big task.
Well, Israel's done it before, but nowadays everybody else is getting in on the Jew hating.
Mm-hmm. So, if we're not helping them, who's going to help them? They're surrounded by hatred, and eventually it's going to come a time where they're going to have to make a move and attack somebody. Because how many times, that's like Canada coming out saying to us every single month, we want to destroy the United States, the American people, we hate them, whatever. Do you think we would just sit there and take that?
Absolutely not.
No.
Well, eventually we'd have to.
We would obviously try to talk things over, but eventually we're going to be like, okay, well, you keep saying it enough that it's becoming a threat, and we're going to have to take you out. And Israel's going to have to be forced into that position. But we have some audio here we'll play. It's basically it kind of goes over Obama's record with Israel in the past 4 years. So let's go ahead and roll that.
Have conducted 3 unprovoked wars of aggression to destroy the Jewish state. But today, Israel faces the greatest threat to its existence in its 63-year history. From Egypt to Turkey, from Gaza to Iran, Israel's enemies are on the rise.
إسرائيل هي عدونا الموت لإسرائيل
سيقتلهم المسلمون فيختبئ اليهودي وراء.
Right here in this audio, it's a little kid dressed up in Muslim garb.
About 6 years old.
Yeah, and he's let's see what it says. Something, and the Muslims will kill them, and the Jews will hide behind stones and trees. So, Joe, how many kids do you know, when you see them every day, they talk about killing Jews?
Well, that's what they teach in elementary school here.
That's what I remember learning.
Mm-hmm.
So these are countries that are teaching their kids to hate Jews, and it's being brought up.
Perfectly normal.
No, perfectly
over
normal.
there.
There's freaking Jews and the Jewish bankers who are always holding back the 99%. Mm-hmm. No wonder they hate them.
الحجر والشجر فينادي الحجر والشجر قائلا يا مسلم يا عبد الله هذا يهودي خلفي.
Islamic terrorist forces armed with more than 50,000 rockets now encircle the tiny nation and call openly for its extermination. In these perilous times, Israel needs its ally, the United States, more than ever. But can it count on America's president? From Israel's beginning, the United States has been the indispensable ally of this single democracy among the repressive dictatorships of the Middle East. American presidents through the decades have reaffirmed that special relationship until the election of Barack Obama. From his first day in office, Obama has distinguished himself by his open hostility towards America's staunchest ally. He has told Jews they can't build homes in Jerusalem, the capital of Israel and the spiritual center of Judaism for thousands of years.
The United States does not accept the legitimacy of continued Israeli settlements.
So he's saying that Jewish people in Israel can't continue to build houses and settle?
I don't understand. Why is there such a double standard? It's so wrong for Israelis to do whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Arabs can do whatever they want.
Exactly.
There's no problem with them building houses and...
Yeah, I don't see you coming out to Syria and saying, I'm tired of, Syrians, building out their settlements. Like, what is that? That's like telling Canada, you guys have to stop settling in your own country. Stop building houses. It's it just doesn't make sense. It goes on here.
It is time for these settlements to stop.
He forced the Jewish state to negotiate with the Palestinian terror organization Hamas in the so-called peace process. Hamas has sworn to obliterate Israel. While Israel faces an enemy sworn to destroy it, Obama has demanded that Israel surrender its right to negotiate defensible borders. He said that its borders must revert to the lines that existed before the second Arab aggression.
The borders of Israel and Palestine should be based on the 1967 lines with mutually agreed swaps.
All right, so these borders that they're talking about that Obama wants to go back to, it basically gives Palestine most of Jerusalem and almost half of the northern part of Israel. Now, what this does, it gives about an 8-mile strip between the what's the water body there?
You got the Mediterranean.
Mediterranean, and then between Palestine, which means anybody in Palestine can hit anywhere in Israel with a rocket at this point.
Within plenty of reach.
Yeah, and Israel calls these lines the Auschwitz lines because it's basically death for them. It's just a matter of time till Palestine, creates an offensive, and Israel's hurt now because they have a lot less land, and Palestine is going to be laying right inside of Israel. And the thing was, if anybody remembers, back in 1967, the Palestinians actually attacked Israel because they hate the Jews. They actually attacked them, so Israel won and then took the land away from them because obviously they can't be adults about owning that land and not attack Israel. So that's why Israel took that land, is because Palestine, the Palestinians attacked Israel.
Yeah, so basically Obama wants Israel to basically go back to the size of Delaware.
Yeah, exactly.
And defend itself from that.
They have little land as it is. And now you can't see this on the radio, but in this 8-mile strip between the Mediterranean and what the 1967 borders would be, that's their main airport, their airstrip. Mm-hmm. Now, you're telling me that they wouldn't try to shoot down planes from there? They would totally shoot down and hurt commerce in Israel by shooting down planes. It's ridiculous. All right, it goes on here.
That leaves Israel an 8-mile strip.
الله يا الله احصل يهود عددا واقتلهم بددا ولا تغادر منهم أحدا.
While appeasing Israel's enemies, Obama has dealt harshly with Israel's prime minister since their first meeting in May 2009. Obama treated Benjamin Netanyahu to a series of humiliating snubs, including presenting him with a list of demands and then leaving him to mull them over while he went to dinner with his family. There has been no such tension between Obama and the Jew-hating Turkish Prime Minister, Recep Erdogan, whose rhetoric toward Israel is increasingly...
All right, we're coming up against a break here, but in this audio, it makes a perfect point. Obama's friendly with the Turkish president, who has come out recently and talked against the Jews and about how he doesn't want them there either. He wants Israel gone. So when we come back, we'll play the rest of that audio, and we'll talk about much, much more here on the Doug Karns program.